is open, my friends, as this video is brought to you by drroto.com.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Look Back podcast with Sam and Maddie, brought to you by drroto.com. Get your daily prescription of fantasy sports. I'm Sam Holt, and I'm joined by Madi Kroll for our first ever episode. I'm so excited.
I am so excited. You guys have no idea. I'm pumped up.
This is going to be awesome. So in case you are new to Dr. Roto, this is new to us to be recording together, but we're going to be breaking down the week that was every single Monday night. So you guys get to tune in and catch up with us as we have our initial reactions. You guys can have your reactions to the games that just transpired, including the Cowboys game, which we will get to last. But I know that the game just ended. Any quick thoughts from you, Maddie?
I told you so to all those people trying to drop Zeke after week 1. That's all I have to say.
Right? Oh my gosh, I saw so many tweets like that. Just like, so all of you guys that traded him, I hope you got something good because, wow, he showed up today. But yeah, we can get into that later. Let's talk quickly about the Thursday night game, Texans-Panthers. Obviously, the big takeaway there is Christian McCaffrey is injured, but he's not going to be placed on IR. He'll be out a couple weeks, but it's tentative. Now, I'm sure you're a McCaffrey owner. I am as well. Are you rushing out to pick up Chuba Hubbard, or do you already have him rostered?
I actually already had him rostered in
Nice.
one league. I'm trying to work out a trade situation. The thing that worries me about McCaffrey is I feel we've already watched him rush back before. I'm worried he's going to do it again. So I had some backups going into this year, knowing that I wasn't 100% confident he was going to be here all season, especially with the extended game.
Absolutely. I feel like anytime any of these running backs end up with some form of injury early, it's got an immediate stamp on their resume of, oh no, what if they become injury prone? And every time they go down, all of us just, take a little gasp.
Yeah. That was me the first time Dad got hit this season.
Oh my gosh, I can only imagine. I'm pretty sure his entire team is that way too. I kind of watch everyone and they're like, oh, I think everyone's freaking out. Oh, and Maddie, I have to introduce you. I do have a cat. His name is Knox, and he tries to get into the podcast every time.
Oh my gosh, he's so cute.
He's cute, except he tries to eat the cords every time I start recording.
Oh.
So
he needs your attention.
Constantly. He's like, Mom, all you do is watch football and write articles, and can you just put those notes away? I had to literally kick him off of my notes before we got out into this podcast, so we can move on. But I think the other takeaways too that I saw from this game was, if the Panthers are questioning anything, Darnold's just going to be throwing the ball to DJ Moore all day
long. I worry that I was hoping the defense could kind of carry them if something did happen to Christian, and now I'm starting to get more nervous because I'm starting to see some slip ups. I'm not confident in what they're going to look like next week. I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm kind of hoping that with 1 week of first team reps for Chuba, he can, rise to the occasion. He had a couple good looks in this past week, but nothing compared to what you want to be. He's not going to be the CMC light. He's not going to be him at all, but hopefully he can have a good rushing floor.
No, and I talked about this last week, actually, Friday. Whenever I went back and watched film, the things that McCaffrey does, the things that make him great are things that he creates himself. Those aren't holes that are created by the offensive line. He's not running behind somebody most of the time. He sees an opening before it actually happens. I don't think Hubbard has that same capability.
No, I think he's too green.
And also, we watched him struggle with this in college, and that was against Big 12 defenses. This is the NFL. So I want to put my trust in him, but it does make me nervous. So we'll see what everything looks like next week.
Absolutely. But, hopefully people can find ways to, shore up their running back position when CMC is out. And then the other takeaway from this game to me was, is Brandon Cooks going to be a top 5 receiver by the end of the year? Like, is he just that good because there's nobody else there worth the Texans?
I was going to say, I don't think that there's anyone else there. And I think that everybody is seriously underestimating the Texans because they're kind of a dumpster fire this year, especially with their front office. So I don't put it past him. I think that he has the capability.
Absolutely. I mean, he's averaging literally almost 100 yards a game. And he's got, this last week he had 11 targets for 9 receptions and 112 yards. The only thing he didn't have was a touchdown, but he still has such a good floor.
He makes it look so easy too. It just looks effortless.
I kind of wonder if all the other defenses are also scheming against Houston and just kind of forgetting about Brandon Cooks being there. And they're just like, I don't really recognize any of these names anyways. Do we really have to put up much of a fight? They're kind of using it like a running bye week in some ways, and they're just not prepared.
I kind of did that. I forgot about him going into week 3.
Yeah, no, same.
After those numbers.
I did pick him up late in a couple leagues, and I was very happy about that because with so many injuries, I'm being able to slot him in where I can. But for any person that rostered Brandon Cooks, they're super glad with the value that they got for him.
Absolutely. I'm jealous.
No, seriously. So which of these Sunday games do you want to cover first? Do you want to talk a little bit about Buffalo and how Josh Allen is officially back and you don't need to worry about him anymore?
I was stressed for a hot minute. And honestly, that offensive line was giving me anxiety, even though I knew that with each game they're going to continue to get better, which is only going to help Josh Allen because I don't know what they're doing over there, but they're playing like musical chairs with their offensive linemen. It's like this week you're going to be a center, this week you're going to be a guard, you're going to be a tackle. Like nobody knows what they're doing. So now that we're getting some consistency, I think that we're only going to see that continue to help Josh Allen. But yeah, I was sweating it out for a minute for Josh.
Yeah, I mean, I took him high in a couple of leagues just that were 2 quarterback, and I was like, oh, this is one of those I never have to worry about this kind of quarterbacks. And then the first 2 weeks, I'm like, I think I might have to start thinking about this. But thankfully,
Yeah.
I feel redeemed, and I can sleep better this week knowing that Josh Allen is officially back. But were you surprised, as most of us were, by Emmanuel Sanders this week? I feel like this has to be a fluke. This can't be the new thing.
I actually wasn't so shocked because I recommended that somebody start that. But will it continue? I don't know. That's up for debate.
No, for sure, especially considering the way that he still likes to get Cole Beasley in the mix, who's still seeing 13 targets. I mean, it's such a healthy floor for him. It's just if Allen is on for that week, is just everyone have the potential for a huge numbers? That's just kind of the question.
I think so. So. The only thing that worries me is Washington football team. I know everybody's talking about their defense and they're supposed to be great. They're not living up to their potential, especially the front seven kind of looked terrible last week. So does that play a factor? Absolutely.
And it could also be just, maybe everyone's having a little bit of trouble, kicking the dirt off the tires for the first couple weeks, because I feel like a lot of defenses that everyone thought were going to be just brilliant, like the Washington football team, I felt that as well, are having a slow start for what we expected.
That's true. But I feel like their secondary is totally relying on their D-line and it's not working out for them.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about the Browns and Bears as well. Browns came out of this one shining bright like a diamond with 26-6. But the Bears, I mean, how many memes have we seen in the last 24 hours for the Bears right now? Like, it's ridiculous. This quarterback situation is lost for words. Like, what do we do?
That offensive line is scary. The Bears' offensive line gives me anxiety. And now I'm just like, did Matt Nagy not start Justin Fields because he was worried he was going to get murdered in the pocket? Or did he not start him because of job security? I'm not really sure. From what we've seen from Fields, like he's hit or miss. And I think that only gets better whenever you have reps. But I'm kind of scared for Justin Fields to show up behind that offensive line anymore.
Absolutely. I see Chris Emmerich is jumping in the chat, and I was recording with him this past Saturday, and he's being very sarcastic here when he says, who could have seen this coming? Because he saw this coming last week. And I kept saying, are you sure you don't want anyone to start Fields? And he kept saying, stay away, not a chance in hell. And then he said, yeah, like if only someone had said play Brissett over Fields, and he may have said that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Brissett over Fields. I was actually impressed with him. No, Fields, I mean, he's a rookie quarterback, and Matt Nagy is not known for developing quarterbacks. So what did you expect? You got to give him some time before you start him. But He was sacked 9 times. Some of that's not all his fault.
Yeah, that right there is not all his fault, but also
Yeah.
I agree with you. He's not known for developing the quarterbacks where they should. So maybe we were all a little bit too hot under the collar this offseason with excitement for Fields and the Bears finally getting their quarterback.
Yeah. Nobody likes a quarterback who holds the ball.
No, they gotta let it go. The other big
Mhm.
takeaway from this game that I guess I'm having to eat my words a little bit on this one, but Odell
Kareem
Beckham is
Hunt?
back. No, I
Oh,
was gonna say Odell Beckham. No, Kareem Hunt was surprising too. I mean, I feel like that's a fluke. Not every week is he gonna beat out Nick Chubb like
no.
this in stats. This is crazy. But Odell Beckham, like, my goodness. I mean, I'm not gonna say like I'm always gonna reserve, my thoughts on this because I'm just so against the Browns. But at the same time, he really was able to show up. He had 9 targets. That's a good floor for him.
He did, and it did surprise me a little bit because I thought he was gonna need some time to get acclimated back into the speed of things, and he proved me wrong, but knowing Baker doesn't care who you are, you could be a cheerleader. If you're in the game, he's gonna throw you the ball if you're open or if you're not open. If he can get it to you, that's what's gonna happen. If he doesn't trust you, he'll tuck it and maybe go for a loss of 5, but, if you're an eligible receiver, 9 times out of 10, he's getting you the ball. So, hopefully that can continue,
Yeah, hopefully it can. I mean, I know
especially
that
with
Landry is
Jarvis.
out. Yeah, with
Yeah,
Landry out, like he's going to end up seeing more and more targets, but this game from Kareem Hunt is just ridiculous. He had 10 attempts for 81 yards and a touchdown. He also had 6 receptions on 7 targets. You love that for a running back that you probably ended up getting in probably the 3rd or 4th round.
I took him in I took him at the end of the 4th, and I'm
Yeah.
so happy. And I went toes with people over this week, and I was like, "You need to start Kareem Hunt. You need to start Kareem Hunt." Nobody listened to me, but
Nobody listened. What gave you such confidence? Was it just like the fact that you knew what the Bears were going to be throwing up against him?
because I knew what the Bears' defensive line was gonna look like against the Browns' offensive line.
Love that. Love a good
Yeah,
matchup when things come together. Well, hopefully that made you
me
win a couple leagues.
too. Yeah, hopefully this streak continues. I'm gonna try not to get too cocky.
Absolutely. Um, really quick, let's talk about the Ravens and the Lions. I know the Ravens are your team. Um,
Yes, Tuck
that
with the kick.
that kick, I mean, the clutch kick heard round the world and bounced for what felt like 2 minutes.
I do feel bad for Lions fans because wow,
Yeah,
wow.
that was
Hollywood
brutal.
Brown, if you started Hollywood Brown this week, I'm sorry. Not only am I a Ravens fan, I'm a U fan, so this is saying a lot coming from me, but that was rough.
That
He
was
should be
how many
buying
drops?
Justin Tucker too many. He should be buying Justin Tucker dinner like every night this week to thank him for saving his rear.
Seriously, though, I completely agree with that. I mean,
It
he
was so
really saved
bad.
the game, but also just goes to show. I mean, I think in fantasy, a lot of times there's a lot of leagues that don't have kickers. There's a lot of times when the kicker decides the game, and it's just
Yeah,
he's just one of those guys. He's
it
money.
is what it is. 66 yards is a lot though. And
Yeah.
then the 4th down conversion, 4th and 19 conversion.
Mhm.
What did you think about the delay of game? Should they have called that?
I felt like they should have. I was watching it and I was thinking, I'm like, that clock's been at 0 for what feels like more than a second. Like, and then it went off
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, the flag is gonna go. And then it never did. And then I was like, is it just my TV? Like, is it just YouTube TV that's just like lagging? And maybe it's just me. I couldn't believe that it was actually a thing until I started seeing it all over Twitter. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's
I did
bad.
the same thing, and then watching the replays, I was like, "Okay." But then again, as a Ravens fan, in the moment, I was just excited.
Oh,
But
for sure.
retrospect, 2020,
Yeah.
hindsight 2020.
Hindsight
Yeah.
2020. No, I agree. But it's still, you know, there were a lot of calls from the refs this weekend that I think went amiss, and we don't have to get into all of those right away, but we can keep going on to the next game. Tennessee beat the Colts. They looked fantastic. Derrick Henry finally looked fantastic. I feel like
Finally. We all
talk
talked
about
him up.
yeah, talk about all these running backs that are showing up late, all these players that are just, guys, it's week 3. Can we get it rolling? Like finally gets it rolling.
Yeah. Um, Carson Wentz was able to play on 2 hurt ankles. I don't know how that happened.
I know.
He He kills me. He kills me. He's like glass. You can't look at him without him hurting something. I do feel bad for Colts fans because now Quentin Nelson's out again. I don't know is he out? It was a high ankle sprain, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
To be determined on that, but if he's
TBD.
gone, Colts just take a seat, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, Wentz didn't look great, but also, yeah, I mean, how much do you have to tape those ankles? Like, did he just tape all the way from like his actual foot down up to his knee just to like get him to run? Because he was running not very well either.
He couldn't move. He couldn't move. So
oh my god.
I will say it cracked me up when everybody was like, Landry had 12 pressures in one game. And I was like, he couldn't move. Like he was stuck.
Poor guy was in quicksand. But yeah, that was brutal. But what your takeaway also is that Tannehill looked pretty good as well.
Tannehill did look good, but I've also expected Tannehill to look good. So I've been a little disappointed. He was another one that I was like, we're finally here.
Yeah, seriously. And then, AJ Brown is questionable. That absolutely sucks for those that have him as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I mean, it says hamstring and it's week to week, but hopefully he's back next week. The other side of that, though, is that Julio Jones does look good in this offense. He didn't have as good of a week this past week as he did in week 2, but he's getting the looks, he's getting the targets, so you like that.
He is, and it's only going to get better. He's still working on that chemistry. He was a late move, so give him some time.
Absolutely. I mean, he's a veteran. He is going to go down as a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's going to get in the sync, and Tannehill's going to get more comfortable with getting him the ball. And I think it's just going to get better from here, especially because they have the Jets next week. So start all your Titans.
Absolutely. And he's won a couple of matchups that he just didn't get the looks on. And all that's going to be talked about in film sessions. So it's just going to keep getting better. Don't drop Julio.
No, absolutely. Hold on tight to Julio. He'll be part of my Stockwatch article that'll drop tomorrow, and he'll be part of the holds section of that. But since we mentioned the Jets, let's go ahead and talk about this abysmal game. And
the shutout.
What do you do?
Say?
What do you do?
Yeah.
I feel so bad for Jets fans. Just they can't catch a break. And every offseason, it happens without fail. People say this might be the Jets' year. Someone says it, and
somebody
then
says it jinxes them.
It does. Mm-hmm. People in off season just don't talk about the Jets. Just don't say anything positive. Just be like, they play football, and then just move on. And maybe we won't jinx them because literally a different change in the wind completely changes them.
How do you feel about Sutton?
I like him. I like him a lot. I think I have the most faith in Bridgewater being able to find different receivers. So I feel like if it doesn't click one week, it's going to be the next.
Okay. I need to probably have a little bit more faith in Bridgewater.
I think that
I'm a little on the shaky end.
It's brutal because there's definitely be some times when, he's going to disappoint. But at the same time, I feel like he just has such a coolness about him in the pocket. He's not one that freaks out. He's not like a Jared Goff deer in headlights kind of quarterback. He is just someone that is just going to keep going. He doesn't get flustered, and you can see that on the field. Even if he gets sacked, he gets back up. He's right there, and he's always talking to his team. So I have a lot more faith in him because of that.
I think that that's also what makes me nervous about him, though, is because I feel like he misses a lot of reads because he's slow with decision making.
Yeah,
because he's too calm.
He's too chill. He
gotta
needs
have,
to be
gotta
less
have
chill.
some balance. Yeah.
He needs to be a little bit more positive. But I mean, I tried slotting in KJ Hamler this week because I was just bleak at receiver in one league. That did not pair out well because he got hurt.
Not well at all.
But at the same time, I do think Sutton's going to have better days ahead. And what you love is the chemistry he has with Noah Fant as well.
I do love that.
So at least there's a good floor for him there.
Yeah. Love a good tight end fallback.
Of course. All right, let's jump to the next one, which surprised me. Chargers beating the Chiefs 30-24.
I had this one picked, and I'm so excited.
Nice. Did you win?
The Chiefs, I did. I won some money on it.
Nice.
That's not official. I live in Oklahoma. Got to tread carefully here.
Sure.
The Chiefs defense just is not looking good at all.
No, they're looking atrocious.
At all. Absolutely
kind of
terrible.
Disappointing.
Do you think that Patrick Mahomes is going to chill out on his no-look passes? after that pick six.
I think he should. Who are we trying to impress now, Patrick? We all get it. You're really good.
You're cool, dude.
You're cool. You're so cool. Like you're the coolest. Maybe just finish the look. Like you don't have to make it cooler than you need to be. You've already got the swag.
Yeah, you can only be cool if you're winning football games. Like that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I hope that his quarterback's coach just like gives him like one of these up the head in the week. What are you doing?
I would just like replay it on a loop in film. Just continuous until it like sunk in.
Oh, for sure.
You know how they make basketball players like stand with their hand like this if they like showboat and they miss the shot like all practice? Like that's what Patrick Mahomes should have to do. He should have to look at a ball.
He should have to look away from his receivers and then watch someone else make the ball and like make the passes. And then maybe someone has to just like hit him every time. Just real quick.
You're welcome, Chiefs, for the coaching advice. We got you.
Yeah, we got you. We'll fix this. Just get us in that locker room. We'll knock it out of him. But besides that, obviously Mahomes is gonna be fine. All their pass catchers are gonna be fine. As someone that has Julio in a lot of leagues, or as I have Hill in a lot of leagues, I was disappointed. I wanted more.
Yeah.
I mean,
Allaire, I feel bad for the people who have him. I never know how to say his name. Allaire. He fumbled again this week, Allaire.
Yeah.
Everybody always corrects me when I say it. I always say it wrong.
CEH.
I'll just change it each time, and maybe one time I'll be correct.
There you go. That's fine.
But really, I'm happy for the Chargers. The penalties were out of control. They've got to get that. They've got to get that under control. And honestly, kudos to Staley. Like he had the guts all game. He was so aggressive, and I love that. I like actually tweeted it out. But the 4th and 9 call, and then deciding to go for the touchdown. Would you have made the same decision? Giving the ball back to Patrick Mahomes. So I think it was like 35 seconds left.
I mean, probably not. I'll be honest. I want to sound cool and be like, oh, I totally would go for it. But I can't imagine what I would do in that situation, the same exact way. But I did like the call as well, having faith in his team to push it forward. And
the lack of faith in his kicker, who turned around and missed the point after kick too. That's why somebody was like, he shouldn't have done that on Twitter. And I was like, okay, but his kicker, thank you for the
thanks, Scott.
I appreciate
that. Appreciate you.
Elaire. You are the man. Elaire.
The man dropping in here. We appreciate you, Scott.
Now I'm never going to forget it. But yeah, no, that kicker was absolutely terrible. So honestly, I might have gone for it just because I don't trust the kicker.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. If you can't trust your kicker to get the ball in there, then yeah, I would just go for it as well. But besides that, Mike Williams just absolutely
threw the hands
insane.
Multiple times. How does that happen? In your hands, not once, but then directly the play after that, again, you're hit in the hands and you drop it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, it doesn't make any sense.
I will say the first ball did have some heat on it. And so, I mean, maybe, but like, that's your job. But then the second ball, I was like, that was all you. You just gotta go to the locker room or something after that. I don't know. But then he redeemed himself. So
yeah. Jesse C saying it would have been the most Charger thing ever for them to miss that short field goal. Yeah, it would have been a very Charger.
It would have been. I agree.
Most Charger moves. But besides that, I mean, I know that he had some bad drops, but he still ended up with a great week. Mike Williams with 7 receptions, 9 targets, 122 yards, and 2 touchdowns. You love that, despite the drops.
Yeah. If you're a fantasy owner and you weren't watching the game, it was phenomenal.
It was definitely a fun game to watch. I mean, it was kind of frustrating having Hill and then thinking, okay, just he's going to get the next one. He's going to get the next one. And then it went to absolutely everybody else but Tyreek Hill. And I'm like, I guess I can't complain because he did have the most insane of week ones to open the season. I have to, to be okay with it. It's going to come around.
It'll come around. It'll come around.
It'll get better. Let's move on to the next one. Let's talk. I'm kind of surprised that the Falcons managed to beat the Giants. It was a messy game.
I feel like they kind of got lucky. I mean, good for Arthur Smith. He got his first dub. And then, is it Younghoe Koo?
Yeah, Younghoe Koo.
His name? I mean, he made the game-winning field goal after his cleats got stolen in the offseason, so good for him. That's a sad deal.
That's so sad. I feel like there's nothing really more sad right now. Actually, that's not true. The Jets are very sad, but the Falcons are just so underwhelming right now for what we all anticipated to be a high volume offense that was going to get the ball to Kyle Pitts and be able to spread it around. I mean, I had Russell Gage as someone that was a steal in a lot of drafts because I felt like he was the immediate wide receiver two based on his production last year, but I don't know what to do with all my Falcons.
I don't think that they know what to do with the Falcons. I don't think the Falcons know what to do with the Falcons. And I do think that it's going to get better, but we're not going to see a turnaround until probably game 9 or 10, honestly. It's going to be late.
It's going to be late, and by then everyone will have traded away their Falcons, or they'll be really expensive on the waiver wire because they've all been dropped. But better days ahead, hopefully.
Matty Ice, I still have the faith. Still have
the faith. I mean, I think that faith restored for me in Saquon Barkley and him finally putting together a run that looked some semblance of what Barkley should look like. I mean, he finally gets a rushing touchdown. He has multiple attempts that looked good. He was utilized in the passing game. Is it fully brighter days ahead? Can we finally rest easy?
No, because I think that if you play any decent defense, it's not going to happen. I don't have faith in Saquon Barkley. I told people not to draft him this year. I just don't. I feel like he's underperformed from the time he's hit the NFL, the games that we've gotten to see.
Yeah, I definitely see that. I didn't take any shares of him this season because I was very worried about him coming back from that injury. A lot of people saying, his legs just don't look even. So if he was off the field for that long and he had any muscle atrophy there in his quads, which he is obviously very well known for, and he's a little bit unbalanced, he's just not going to have that same stability to cut. And it's very concerning.
Yeah. And I also, if you compare players, I like to compare players. I don't think that he trusts himself. Watching Dak, that was my big thing, is I was like, I need to be able to see Dak play. I hated that he didn't play preseason because I wanted to see, is he going to treat himself like he's hurt, he's injured? And that was my big thing with Dak and Saquon. And everything that I saw from Saquon shows that he just doesn't trust himself. He doesn't trust his body. So
which you don't want.
Plays it too safe. And as a running back, you can't second guess. You don't have time to think. You have to react. That's what makes a good NFL running back. So I'd stay away.
Yeah, no, it's not good news. Maybe this could be the one game that you find you can sell high on Barkley, because then you can convince another fantasy manager that, he's back, and then you can just rid yourself of the drama and just be done with it. So maybe this is your sell high moment for Barkley, because this is the best it's going to get.
I agree. And I do feel bad for owners with Slayton and Shepard both. Wow. What a week.
It's just so totally brutal. I mean, Galladay managed to get a couple good catches in there, but it's just not, overall the Giants are just not looking like what they should look like, and it's all underwhelming. I mean, you are getting a couple rushing yards here and there from Daniel Jones, but nothing that's making you that excited. Yeah.
It's like wasted yards. I will say I'm slightly disappointed in Galladay. I did expect a little bit higher of a turnout. And then I thought, okay, well, with him coming in, it's also going to be great for Shepard, because I felt like Shepard in the slot was going to be able to kill it with the wideouts, but hasn't happened yet.
No, hasn't happened yet. All right. I think it's time for me to rip this Band-Aid off and just start talking about it, because this is how you heal. You address the issue. The Steelers lost to the Bengals. I'm dead inside, and I'm not okay.
The Steelers lost because there was no pressure on Herbert.
No, there's just no pressure. There was no pressure on Burrow, and they just okay, I know TJ Watt is out. I know that he is amazing, but the rest of our defense is good too. So is everyone just feeling dinged up? Yeah, but still, that's just okay. That's two guys. We have other guys. There's plenty of other guys here that could have just stood up and put the pressure on Burrow. We should have had multiple hits on him, and we did not. I mean, this is always one of those games where people end up hurt because it's a division rival, and we always take the Bengals on too seriously and too intensely. And who gets hurt? Juju ends up hurt. Fun stuff. Sorry, I will take a moment.
Great. No, let it out.
It's not
You gotta
okay.
get it out.
It's not okay.
Has to be out there before you can move on. No, I was honestly shocked because we saw him just get pressured after pressure after pressure play in Chicago. So I was fully expecting that from the Steelers. And I was like, first quarter rolled around, second quarter rolled around, and I was like, what is happening?
I know. It's like, okay, this
What
is
is
going to be one of those
happening?
things that they like to do to me where the second half they like to turn it around and be like, JK, we're still good. And you're like, okay, cool. This is what we all wanted. But that's not what happened. And I still actually just looking at it and looking back, I don't understand how we beat the Bills in week 1. I have no idea.
Yeah, Josh Allen wasn't connecting and the offensive line was all together. That's how that happened. But also you guys had your full team. I almost tweeted out because I had a lot of people complaining about Watt getting the deal that he got. And I wanted to tweet out, so who's complaining about Watt's deal now? But I didn't. I
Yeah.
decided to stay out of the drama. Jamar Chase is a stud.
He is
Phenomenal.
fantastic. I mean,
Wow.
I think we all knew that connection was going to be great when right when the pick happened and we all realized, okay, clearly Joe Burrow just picked up the phone and said, "No, you're going to go get my guy. You're not going to get who you
Yeah.
wanted to get. Go get my boy." And they did, and all of us were like, "Okay, I guess this is happening. This is a thing. It's officially a thing."
It is. And it's beautiful. I'm here for it. I mean, you probably are too when they're not playing the Steelers.
I mean, I do have a couple Jamar Chase like shares in my leagues.
There
I'm
we
not
go.
one of those people.
You're smart.
I
Yeah,
will
you
I
have
will
to.
pick up the opposition's players. I will. There's just a, it's
You have
hard
to
for me.
disassociate to be a good fantasy player.
You do. I do have to set my personal bias aside. Plus, it doesn't matter for me anyways because everyone that I'm in leagues with anyways, they always take my Steelers, so I never get any of them. So I never have that where I can root for my own Steeler. I think I have one share of Chase Claypool in one of my like 13 leagues. It's ridiculous. It's like
I lost one fantasy league one year, and my punishment the next year was I couldn't draft any of the players from my team. None.
That's an interesting punishment.
It was a killer.
That's brutal. But I mean, again, Jamar Chase, he's here to stay. He's going to have a healthy floor. He's someone that you want to be slotting in every single week. They've got Jacksonville next week. That matchup I love too. It's just, I mean, is he going to go for 2 touchdowns
Mixon.
too? Yeah.
I throw Mixon in as a flex.
Yeah. I see that. Definitely could see that. I love that matchup for them for that reason though. And it's just, his floor is going to be insane. All right, let's talk.
Unreal.
Let's wrap it up with the game of Monday Night Football that we just got to see. Dallas versus the Eagles. Dak is back. It was an emotional game for him back. So very powerful. Fun to see that. Love to see him feeling that strong, that confident, and showing out the way that he did. Crying out loud.
I kind of had a feeling he was going to do that. He's that showboaty guy, he's back at home. He was ready. It's first time in a long time. He left in tears last time. So come out and do your thing. And he did.
Yep.
I was actually shocked about Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
I felt like this was his time to prove himself.
100%. So looking at the stats, it doesn't make sense either too. I mean,
and I was shocked by Schultz. Like, okay, he can play.
Yeah.
I just wasn't. I don't know why I wasn't expecting that. I kind of had Jarwin ranked higher than him, but I was wrong.
I mean, maybe it was just this week too. I mean, you never really know. I think with the tight ends, it could be someone else.
Yeah.
But the Cooper thing was very disappointing. In one league, I was against Cooper, and I actually have to double check it because I was like, there's no way I'm going to win this. I'm down by so many, but I had one defensive player left. And the last I saw, I was really close to edging someone out with a couple more tackles. So I have to check it after more stats get added up tomorrow.
Fingers crossed.
That's the most brutal way to win when you get a stat correction, though. I've benefited from them, and I've also been, punishment on them. But besides that, CeeDee Lamb's obviously CeeDee Lamb, and he's always going to be amazing. So he didn't have,
and he's only going to get better.
He's only going to get better. He's just one of those guys that you watch him play, and he just looks like such a better veteran presence than his age actually is.
I agree. And I also think that the more he continues to put on weight, it's going to get better and better. He came in like a string bean.
He did come in like. I feel like the same way for Devonta Smith, to be honest. Like,
yes.
Poor guy. Like, can the nutritionist there in
you gotta do something.
Let's get some meat on this guy's bones. Let's do something because I mean, CeeDee Lamb is going up and he's making tackles too. He's also there to block, and he's looking really impressive.
Yeah. Well, he knows how to position his body.
He does,
which is great.
I think that also goes to like the between the ears side of him. Like, he is just a really smart player with how he controls his body.
Super intelligent. And even the way you can tell by the way he mind controls defensive players as well. Because like a lot of times he has them beat before his body does anything, which is, I don't know how it happens, but he used to do it at OU.
Yeah, for sure.
Beautiful.
Love it.
Zeke, so happy. And I said this before, everybody was hating on Zeke after week 1, but Zach Martin was out and Zeke runs behind Zach Martin. Why would you not? He's just, I'm just so happy. Keep doing you, Zeke.
You keep doing your thing. You keep getting all of these yards, all of these rushing attempts, the multiple touchdowns. I mean, just keep being you, Zeke, and all of us will stay on board. Although you do feel bad for those that freaked out after week 1.
Sure do. Yeah. I don't know why I'm so passionate about it. I was arguing with people, or not arguing, but I was like pleading people, like, please don't trade him. I was on different apps. I was on Sports Me, and I was like, please, you guys, please don't. Just don't.
Guys, like,
give us some time. Wait for Zach Martin to
down.
come back. They were game planning for the secondary. Don't trade him. Don't do it.
Well, hopefully people actually held on to him, and now they're very grateful for having done so. So yeah, definitely better days ahead. But do you have any thoughts going into week 4, games that you're especially excited about?
Not any that I was as excited about coming in. I will say these coaches are surprising me this year with how aggressive they're being.
Definitely.
I'm still not over week 3. I don't know. What game are you excited for?
I mean, I'm definitely excited for this whole narrative of the revenge game of Brady versus Belichick. Did you see that commercial with the Adele music in the background? Like, how dramatic was that?
I haven't seen that.
It's
hilarious.
Need to get
on there.
It was on a commercial.
Google it after this.
Yeah, it's the Hello song.
Set to break... Oh, stop.
So good. It's like, and they're running it on NBC. Coverage. No, it's gonna be ridiculous.
To be honest with you, I feel like I have to I don't even start thinking about the following week until like Tuesday. Like, I have to decompress come Monday night. But I did forget that game was this week. Brady's set to beat the all-time record, right?
Yeah.
I think he's like 68 yards away. So that's going to happen, which is wild. I'm telling you, these schedulers this year, unbelievable. Like, they deserve like a round of applause. This is insane. But they purposely, I know that they tracked all of his seasons and broke it down to how many yards he actually threw a game and all this good stuff, and tried to calculate when he would be breaking the record so that they can make it to where he returns to Gillette and breaks the record. Yeah. So they've been planning this, and I'm so happy it's happening.
It's finally happened. I mean, it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be fun to watch. I think the hype is going to be pretty ridiculous as we lead into it, but it'll definitely be a fun one. And then I think that we've got Bengals and the Jags on Thursday. The Wildcat game.
You did say that, Wildcat game. And the Bengals are going to run all over the Jags.
Yeah, I love that. Big Jamar Chase game. Looking forward to it, and probably going to see a couple sacks on Trevor Lawrence, because my takeaway from these first 2 weeks or first 3 weeks is Trevor Lawrence is going to get sacked, and he's going to throw interceptions.
Yeah. The flea flicker interception, I was like, oof. It's hard. I feel bad because I want him to do well. I do, but I also kind of feel like Urban Meyer's not the guy that's going to get him there, and I just don't see a bright future as long as Urban's there making the calls.
Yeah,
the man brought in Tim Tebow. I mean,
it sounded like a good idea at the time. Kind of like, like morning whiskey. Like, who thought that was a good idea? Like, this is just like, it sounded like fun. I just wanted to try it. Like, no, like you're gonna have a headache by 10 a.m. Yeah, just not good stuff.
Oh, I'm looking up the other games. I don't know why. Yeah, there's really not a ton of great games other than that.
Well, let's talk about what's next for you here at Dr. Roto. What article do people get to look forward to this week?
So I am going to be writing an In the Trenches article. So just comparing offensive lines against defensive lines and how that could help or hinder your players going into the following week. So
I
I'm
love
excited
that.
about that.
I'm excited to read that. Like, I feel like that's a whole different section that I would love to learn more. So be the student of your article. I cannot wait to read that. That's gonna be good.
I'm super excited. I love the offensive line. I do. It's how I fell in
Uns-
love with football, which is
Unsung
funny because
heroes.
most people don't. I'm telling you, they don't get any credit, but they know their stuff. And offensive linemen are so intelligent. Like, people don't realize. I lived with some of the offensive linemen at OU, and watching them break down film or learn the playbook, it's unbelievable. Like, the things that they have to know and how they have to know them, beautiful.
I
Just
love
makes
it.
it more interesting, you know?
Music to my ears. Why can't we just all talk football all day long?
I know. That's why I'm trying to do that. Thank you, Doc.
Me too. High five. We're going to do it. It's going to happen. All right. Thanks, guys, so much for listening to the Look Back with Sam and Maddie. Check out all the other content, seasonal and DFS tools, as well as premium access to our staff for all your fantasy sports questions in the members-only Discord right here at drroto.com. Any last words, Maddie?
I think you covered it. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yes. Thanks, guys. And check us out next week for the same thing all over again.
For sure. Good luck this week. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out